and it is Sunday, 7/19. We are more than halfway through July, man. Can you believe that? We only got like 12 weeks of heat left here in Texas. Only 12 weeks of heat left here in Texas. Well, you can tell it's Sunday, and I have not used this set for a long time, for a while. So I've got to kind of have that fix things up a little bit in the background, but I I would record from here like all the time. Then I started doing Walmart, and I did not have to go out and shop today at all. I've got everything, and so I'm just like, okay. And I got up and I'm like, I really have something on my heart to address here because people are walking in deception. Okay, you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what you're seeing, and we need to understand what's going on and why. What is different about paying at the pump now? And we're talking now. This is a Christian channel, and I'm going to apply this to those things that are happening now because let's see if I can get the there. You can see my eyes. Whoa. Okay, so this is this is my studio background, and yeah, like I'm not at Walmart. Okay, I'm I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you if I can get this to come up on my computer. I'm gonna show you something, and then we're gonna get into it. Come on, man. Oh no, the background changed. I don't show you. We're gonna be talking about China today, and what came up on my screensaver because it's from the internet, shows different cities and stuff. Shanghai, China came up, and I'm like, oh, look at that. I'm going to be talking about China, and China came up. So, man, it's been on my heart because people are crying about paying at the pump. Well, understand, I'm going to get into this, but understand, at one point under Obama, gas prices here in Texas, which is usually on the lower scale of what's going on in the nation, here in Fort Worth, Texas, we were sitting at $4.89 a gallon. Okay? So let's not be like, oh, we're paying so much at the pump. And what was the reason for that? What is the reason for high gas prices under Biden? What is the reason for higher gas prices right now? And when we see that the reasons, you're going to see we're in good shape right now because of what DJT is doing. Some of these things I'm going to be saying are in code because we are on YouTube. Okay, so DJT. Okay, yeah. So little things you'll get what it is. So why is it worth it paying at the pump today as opposed to under the Democrats that were in office and under their policies? And that's exactly what we're going to get to is policies. We paid high prices at the pump under Obama. Moderate inflation, high unemployment. We were told manufacturing and other high-paying jobs were never coming back. Was he going to have a magic wand and bring back jobs? Well, yes, he did bring back jobs. DJT did bring back jobs, and he's doing it again. Okay? Well, under Democrat, hate America, hate America last. America has to send our money around the world for things that fraud and other things that we have absolutely nothing to do with. But we tell our seniors and we tell our vets that there's no money. Billions of dollars around the world. Billions of dollars doing this, that, paying for condoms in the Congo or whatever the case. That might not be an actual fact. It's just a off the wall example. But there's things like that around the world. Why is our money going at and then telling our seniors that Social Security is going broke? That's ridiculous. All right? And this administration is addressing those ridiculous things and bringing out the fraud and the billions and billions of dollars that should be going to our American citizens, our veterans, our seniors. All right? Gas prices, let me get back on track here. This is live, and things that absolutely mean nothing to Americans. Okay, and let me tell you what, Donald Trump's been spot on this. Okay, we had high gas prices under Obama because of climate regulations stifling our oil industry, making us reliant on foreign oil, making us a mass importer and not an exporter. Okay, this is just what has happened. Okay, I spent 2 hours writing this off the top of my head this morning because these are things I think about. DJT got into office. Voted in office in 2016, got in office in 2017, and he started bringing back high-paying jobs. We became energy independent and became a major exporter of oil. Gas prices came down, and inflation an all-time low. Unemployment for everyone was down to an all-time low. People of every race had jobs. Okay? I actually have a picture of someplace, a Shell station, and I don't know which Shell station it is, but the picture is $1.69 a gallon at a Shell station, okay, under DJT, under his first administration. Economically, our country was humming along, even with a House and Senate attacking the president every day, and along with the MSM, okay? Then the vid hit, and elections changed to mail-in ballots. And suddenly 81 million people voted for Joe Biden in 2020. 81 million. Suddenly, I mean, if you look at all the votes for all the years and all the elections, suddenly there's this anomaly. Just saying, it's an anomaly. Look at statistics, you two. I'm just saying these are just things that we see as an anomaly. Okay? My opinion. All right? I'm just going to say that, in my opinion, statistically, impossible. Okay? But only a small piece of the overall puzzle that I'm getting to right now. Okay? We have to know our history to understand where we're at today. Okay? 2020, 2021. Democrats took power. Okay? Stopped pipelines from being built, put up regulations, and made us oil dependent once again. In 2022, here in Fort Worth, Texas, gas prices rose to an average, okay, of $4.89. That was the average price here in Fort Worth, Texas in 2022. Okay, depending on what matrix one was looking at inflation rose to between, on the low side, 7 to 8%, and on the high side, 15%, depending on which matrix. I'm just saying there was different matrices that were saying this is where inflation rose to. Okay, so I'm not passing off this information. I'm just saying this was the information that was available out there. All right. And they blamed Ukraine. The war started with Russia and Ukraine. They tried to blame vid. Okay, but like I said, the first day in Biden's administration, he signed many executive orders to simply undo what DJT had done in our energy sector. Period. Worldwide rumblum chain. Climate, no, we're not even going to climate, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about. Oh. Okay. Which we had already lost billions of dollars under the Obama administration chasing this agenda. And we see that in the wind farms and the solar farms and all the businesses that got all this government money and then went out of business. You can track that. That's truth. Okay? So we paid high prices at the pump under Obama and Democrats' policies and regulations, which were not America first. They were not America first. We paid high prices at the pump under Biden and Democrats' policies, which were not America first. Okay? Who benefited under the policies of these Democrat administrations? China. China benefited. Okay? Iran benefited. Russia benefited. Venezuela benefited. Okay? Those are the ones that benefited under these administrations. Remember, I'm showing you the difference of why we are paying high prices at the pump right now and why this time it is a good thing for America and why under Democrats it was not. Okay? In 2017, DJT took office. He was right up front and told us that our biggest threat was China. Okay? China has never been our ally, but since Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, the first Bush that took office, who was Mr. Globalist, one world government man, should never have been in office, okay? China has never been our ally, but since Bill Clinton, we have propped up China, made China rich and dangerous, okay? Politicians on both sides passing legislation and increasing regulations here that benefited China and forcing and opening the way for our most important industries and our supply chains, all right, and high-paying jobs to move out of America and mostly to China and to other countries that are not America first, okay? We have had over 35 years of anti-America legislation coming out of Washington, and the American population has continued to be deceived, moved by emotions and popularity and social justice manipulation to bring all this about. You've been manipulated, people. You're deceived, people. You're being moved by your emotions and not by your intellect, which shows that you don't have much intellect. Stop being unintellectual and sit back and see what's actually going on. And stop responding with emotions and start responding to what is America, who is America, why is America, and why we have been so prosperous before this time period of the last 47, 50 years. Okay? The past 47 years, politicians have removed civics out of our schools. This is a reason, okay? So we now have at least 2 generations that don't know what being American is. This has been done purposely. They knew exactly what they were doing when Carter instituted the Federal Department of Education and called it and I called it from the very beginning. When that happened, I was smoking some weed with my friends, and I'm saying, hey man, this is communism. They're implementing You implement a federally run education system, that's called propaganda of the mind, okay? They're setting up a system, and what happened when the system was set up, okay? The population was deceived. We have a deceived population that doesn't even know what it is to be American, and this is bringing the rise of the Democratic Socialist Party. Guess what? They stopped teaching civics in school. We were taught civics from kindergarten through 12th grade. We were learning about the Federalist Papers by 11th grade. Okay? We started saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag in kindergarten. Okay? We know what it is to be American. And we need to put civics back in school. Make civics great. Okay? Just want to save America. Let's start getting back on the foundation of America and know that we can have an America first agenda. Establish the reasons why we paid high prices at the pump under the Democrats. Okay? Their policies, their anti-America first policies, okay? And there was nothing America first about those prices. Those prices that we paid at the pump, $5, $4.50, whatever the case is, over $4 a gallon, there's nothing that was America first about those prices. We established that under DJT, energy policies, we have seen very good prices at the pump. First administration, they were coming down. That was down to even after the March, even after March, we were down to what 279, 259 before Iran. So I was paying 259 before Iran. We were steadily heading downwards as the policies in the energy sector started kicking back in. Once the regulations were lifted and positive America First regulations were coming into practice. America First agenda, the one big beautiful bill, only started kicking in January, and then Donald Trump saw the need to do what he had to do for America. Look, you think a man like Donald Trump that prides himself on his success is going to do something that's going to negate that success, where he can't say, look at my economy, look what Trump did, blah, blah, blah. No, he is America first, he's Trump second. But he wants to have the credit of the good things that happens, because that's just who he is. Look what I've done, okay? And we need a guy with an attitude like that, and that's why we're winning. And we're going to show you why we're winning, and we're winning around the world, because this man is a smart man, okay? So be not deceived on what's going on. There's something much bigger that he's doing. One, Iran was very close. They came into negotiations even after taking out their nuclear facilities. They came in and said, "Yeah, but we still have enough material to make 11 nuclear weapons." And that's when they verified that, and Donald Trump went in March with I forget what that one was called, but that's when that started. Was because no, you're not going to have that. You're not going to have a nuclear weapon. We're not playing that. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the EAU, they're all on board with this. All the Arab nations around Iran are on board with what we're doing. Okay? If it was a bad thing to be doing this to Iran, don't you think the other Arab oil producing nations? No, they've been under threat from Iran this whole time. Okay? They're like saying, man, we're gonna finally get rid of this albatross around our neck, and we're gonna be able to really start to produce and do the things we want to do, and that's make money for that's what's going on with Donald Trump. Heading downward before we went to Iran. Okay, so we have this, man, under the first administration. We see that it's going to happen again under the second administration. We see them again under DJ. Okay, so when we're going to see good gas prices once DJT is done with the reset of the petrol dollar. And this is where we have to see the strategies of what's going on geopolitically. Okay, there's things going on that the average person is not even aware of, but you need to be aware. Okay? You see, China has been working towards their own petrol currency for decades. Okay, now China's not an oil producing country, but they're manipulating oil producing countries and other countries to come on board with their strategy. You see that the US dollar has been the only currency that oil producing countries could buy and sell on the global market. Okay? And that's how our dollar, our currency, has been backed, is by oil. Okay? Simply under Nixon, we went from a gold standard and went to an oil standard for our currency. Okay? I see that this morning is really popular right now because there's nobody watching. Okay, that's awesome. But I need to get this off my chest so we know what's going on and I can get this out there. All right? So when we went on to the oil standard, OPEC, the Arab nations, did come in and showed us a lesson immediately to show us that they had some control over us at that point when we went to the petrodollar to support our economy. And anyone that lived in the 1970s knows exactly what I'm talking about. OPEC said, hey, look, we're going to flex our muscle on this. Right? And they did. And we were challenged by that, but we got over that challenge. So now, because of treasonous, subversive, anti-American, money-grubbing politicians over the past 35 years, China is now a big shot. And I'll remind all of you that the military of China and all its missiles aimed at us were paid for by us. Okay? They're paid for by us. Okay? You can thank a bought for and paid for American politician for that. Decades of blinded, deceived people going to the polls, electing these people to lift up and build up one of our biggest non-allies. I have to say that in that particular way. Okay? So you can thank these politicians that fooled you, deceived you, and did everything they could to make their money while destroying our nation. So DJT comes in, changes energy policy, starts hurting China with prioritizing America. We get hit with the China V. And suddenly, DJT is gone, and China is back at their planned takeover of the oil market, creating and implementing the petrol currency dollar, okay, which would destroy our economy by diminishing the strength of our dollar. Okay. However, China's move on this hinges on certain linchpins. China is not an oil-producing nation, so they have established 3 major oil-producing nations to start to implement this move, which was supposed to be in the process right now. DJT is not stupid, okay? He knows what's going on, and he came in 16, 17 and said, China is the problem, okay? And China is the problem, okay? And moving industry back to us, moving supply chain back to us, Donald Trump is putting America and Americans first, okay? These nations are Venezuela, Iran, and Russia, with oil deals with countries like India, so for them to buy, and Brazil, I think, was another one that said that they would start using the petrol yuan. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that's the Chinese petrol dollar. Okay, so but what did Donald Trump do? So right away, now we see that Donald Trump, DJT, has told the EU, the European Union, to stop buying Russian oil, which they've stopped. Ukraine has taken out major oil production in Russia. Now, so stupid. Under Biden, we're literally, and the Europeans are literally buying oil from Russia, who is fighting Ukraine, and we're putting billions of dollars into Ukraine, while the European Union's supporting the financial war effort of Russia. Donald Trump gets in there and says, what are you doing? Get the energy from us, get the oil from us, get the gas from us, and stop supporting the war effort that you're supporting the other war effort with your cash. Then he turned around and said, we're not going to just be giving you money and weapons. You, NATO, can buy the weapons. See, Donald Trump turned it around. See, now we're selling the weapons for that war effort. We're making money off of it. DJT knows what he's doing. Okay? So what has happened now? Okay, Russia's being diminished. Okay? Their ability to sell their energy is being diminished, okay? What's the other linchpin? Venezuela. Well, Donald Trump DJT has taken Venezuela, okay? And has now shut down Iran, okay? Iran is twofold. No nukes for the nuts. No nukes for the nuts, okay? And to stop China's move to implement their petrocurrency, okay? China was in the process of implementing this. They were in the process of doing this. If you follow geopolitical things around the world like I do, you would see that we were in a very crucial time period. We were in a very crucial time period, and we needed this particular president in office to take that stand and make these moves. Okay, you have to understand what's going on. This is putting America first. Stopping China from implementing their oil currency, their petrol currency, and reeling all that in and making sure that we're strong with the OPEC nations, which we are. We're very strong with the OPEC nations. We're shutting down Iran, so we're shutting down. Russia's being shut down. We've got Venezuela. We're shutting down Iran. China cannot implement their petrodollar, which would shut us down if they did. Okay, you got to understand what's going on worldwide and stop being deceived, people. Okay, this is putting the prices we're paying at the pump right now is worth it, because this is putting America first. We're saving our country by doing this. If he didn't make these moves now, we would be done. Okay? With knowing this, we now know paying the price at the pump is an actual legitimate reason, and it is America first. Okay? Y'all need to get that. In Matthew 24, Jesus is talking about the end times and his second coming. Before he talks about wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, etc., the first thing he says, be not deceived. There's going to be false prophets, there's going to be false Christ, there's going to be false everything. There's going to be a lot of deception going on, a lot of manipulation going on, okay? The population of this world will be in great deception. But those that keep our eyes on the true Jesus, the Lord, the King of all things, the creator of all things, Jesus. Nothing was made without him. All that was made was through him. We will be awake and see all these things culminating as they are. I'm seeing them, others are seeing them, we're seeing what is going on around the world. We're seeing what's going on in Turkey. We see there's so many things that are culminating right now to the catching away of the church and to the end times taking place, from technology to the what's going on with Israel. There's so many things that we could be talking about right now that are the big picture. You have to step back and see the big picture, okay? And I'm showing you a part of that big picture, okay? Jesus is coming soon, people. Give your life to the Son of God, Emmanuel, God among us. Just say, Lord, I give you my life. Thank you for dying for me on the cross. I believe and receive your life, death, and resurrection. You are alive today, and I choose to live in your life forever. The things I'm showing you today and what's going on are things that have to happen. The things that DJT is doing have to happen if America is going to be first at this time. Okay? I have shown you why we have had high gas prices under Obama and the Democrats, which had nothing to do with the prosperity of our nation. I showed you that it was policy changes and the TDS syndrome, that when Biden took office that first day, you look at all those orders that he put out that day he signed off, which were contrary to everything that Donald Trump was doing. Okay, so we see the high gas prices and high inflation under Obama. It was policy. It had nothing to do with the China V. It had everything to do with the things, the executive orders that he signed that first day, stopping the pipelines, stopping, putting in regulations, just doing the opposite of what DJT had put in place. And that's what caused the whole inflation and rise of gas. They were not America first. These people are not America first. Okay? We have to say, stop all the money going overseas for all the little piddly stuff. Getting into USDAXYZ, whatever that thing was that Elon Musk helped to bring out the reality of all the fraud and all the wasted money, our tax dollars going to garbage They are not, our government's not to use our money as we're going to be a charitable organization around the world. No, there's charities around the world that we can choose as Americans to give our money to. Our money needs to go to our defense, to our infrastructure, to our seniors, vets, and homeless. Our people. We have plenty of money. There is no reason why we're $38 trillion in debt, except for those that have profited from that debt. And it starts with politicians and fraudsters. Okay? Reel them in. It shows how important November is. Vote accordingly. And vote for America first. I love you. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.